Tuscaloosa to frenzy.
Firing. Touchdown, Alabama.
SEC champions, Alabama, Crimson Tide.
We talked about Alabama.
Step back three. Money. And the Alabama Crimson Tide will roll into the Final Four.
Roll Tide!
Roll Tide, everyone, and welcome to TideTV this week. I'm Paige Riley, joined by Mary Reagan Bolick. And Mary Reagan, I'm very excited to be hosting with you.
So excited to be hosting with you too, Paige. Roll Tide to that. Let's talk about UA athletics. They have been so busy, whether it's on the court, the gym, or the track, but they have been dominant at the capstone and also on the road as well.
That's true, and after big wins over Kentucky and Vanderbilt, the third-ranked Alabama men's basketball team was back in Coleman this past Saturday night as they hosted the LSU Tigers.
Going into the matchup with LSU, Alabama has been dominant, winning 4 in a row over the Tigers, including 9 out of the last 10.
That's right, but on Saturday night, the Tigers jumped out to an early 7-2 lead. However, Chris Youngblood sparked an 11-2 run for the Tide as he scored 7 of those 11 to put them on top 13-9. It was a game of runs early on as LSU responded with an 8-0 run to take the lead back at 17-13.
Then the Tide countered again, this time a 12-2 run with a pair of threes from Jaron Stevenson and Aiden Holloway to put Bama back on top 27-21 with just under 6 minutes to go in the half. But LSU battled back to make it a tie game at the break at 40-all.
It was a tight matchup in the second half until Alabama took their first double-digit lead of the game. With 4 minutes to go, the Tide used an 8-0 run to pull ahead 77-64 with just over 2 minutes to go.
The Tigers tried to claw their way back into the matchup, closing out the final 2 minutes of the game with a 9-3 run. But the Tide held strong to get the win 80-73.
Cliff, I didn't think he was bringing it. They had a kid at 15 rebounds. Cliff was not rebounding like he needed to. Wasn't playing as hard as we'd have liked. And going out and playing extremely hard in the second half. Had a great attitude on the bench and ends up winning the hard hat after not starting the second half. So I kind of just told them guys that that's how life goes. Sometimes there's a little adversity and you got to challenge it well. And I was super proud of the way Cliff handled it. So. And I'll just say this, and I'm not going to talk anymore about the playing time stuff. We went with the guys in the second half that thought it gave us the best chance to win this game. And we won the game, and our defense was significantly better than the first half, and we haven't done that very often this year.
Alabama had 5 scorers in double figures, led by Aiden Holloway with 19 points as he was a perfect 6 of 6 from the free throw line. Mo Diabate knocked down 6 of 8 shots from the field as he finished totaled 14 points and 6 rebounds.
Chris Youngblood continues to impress as he finished with 13. Grant Nelson had 12, with LeBaron Philon chipping in 11.
And even though Mark Sears, he didn't have a single point in that game, he is still the only player in the SEC to be top 3 in the league in both scoring and assists.
And the Tide is ranked 4th in both top 25 polls this week. Bama was 4th last week in the Associated Press, but dropped 1 spot from 3rd in the coaches' rankings this week to number 4. After that win over LSU, Alabama remains the country's top scoring offense, averaging over 90 points per game. That is over 1 point better than the next team, Gonzaga, who averages over 89.
That win improved the Tide's record to 17-3 overall and 6-1 in SEC play. And let's take an all-access look at the Tide's win over the Tigers.
When you come into Tuscaloosa against this Alabama team, you've got that thing circled and you're going to be ready.
You can't overlook anybody, but now it's about taking care of business at home against a team you should beat, but a team that's dangerous and capable of winning.
All 40, bro. Alabama has just dominated this series. They've won 9 of the last 10, 4 straight. LSU with their hands full tonight. And a packed house here at Coleman Coliseum.
Side gives it off to Young. The flush, and that was beautiful. Tipped way out, though. Saved by Sears. Finds Amori. Bama gets a reset to 20. Don't need it. Youngblood free. From Amori to Youngblood. Chris going downhill. Steps through. Cleaner. Got it. Oh, that was beautiful. Sears will drive baseline. Gets underneath the basket. Kicks it out to Holloway. Layup. Three-pointer, actually. A bank first three-pointer, but for Aiden, that is a layup. It's on the left wing. Youngblood fighting free, putting up a 3 and knocking it home. Bama ripping and running. Mark weaving downhill. Mark going to the rim, kicking into the corner. Stevenson 3.
Mark
Here's Holloway on the drive, getting into the paint, kicking into the corner. Nelson. He'll drive to the rim and he'll throw it home. Stevenson on the drive. Spins away from a defender. Out to Phylon. Open three. Driving downhill Carter. Later blocked by Youngblood. In the hands of Holloway, and we got number first 5-on-4. Holloway top of the arc. Right side gets a return pass. Lets it fly.
The offense didn't see enough of that in the first half.
Diamante drive to the rim and lays it in for two. Got a touch pass from Amori. And then Mo went right on by to get it in. Throws it in the flush from Big Cliff. 15 remaining. Holloway on the drive, stepping back, letting it fly from deep and knocking home another bank first three-pointer. Aiden Holloway now with 13 points all the way in. He got the friendly roll and climbed. Mo on the drive, muscles his way in and finishes strong. He gives it ahead. Phylon to the rack. The left hand, no. The putback for Mo. And the lid's coming off Coleman.
A huge run for Alabama, 8-0 in the last.
Carter trying to drive against Diamante. Hounded by him. Great defense by Mo, and he deflects it out of bounds. And finally, let's strike up the band. 80-73, your final. Wasn't a thing of beauty, but let's get out of here. Bama winner by 7 as the Crimson Tide improves on the season now to 17-3.
Tide TV This Week is presented by the University of Alabama, where legends are made. Ford, visit your local Ford dealer, proud sponsor of the Crimson Tide.
It is just as loud here at Coleman Coliseum tonight.
I thought the whole crowd was unbelievable. I wouldn't miss anything you could possibly be at this season because it's going to be a special season.
Alabama fans at Coleman Coliseum have been so good all year long.
What a scene at Coleman Coliseum.
Let's fill Coleman every time we get a chance to fill Coleman.
What an electric crowd here.
Let's just support this team because it's not that often that you get to put a team of this caliber together.
Welcome back to Tide TV This Week, and after a win over LSU on Saturday night, the 4th-ranked Alabama men's basketball team made the short trip Wednesday from Coleman Coliseum to Humphrey Coliseum in Starkville to take on the 14th-ranked Mississippi State Bulldogs.
Going into that matchup with MSU, the Crimson Tide have won 5 in a row over the Bulldogs, including 9 out of the last 10.
The Bulldogs scored the first basket, but the Tide responded with a 3. This one from Chris Youngblood would be the one of many on the night. Mississippi State got the lead back and would take their biggest lead of the game, 11-5, just under 4 minutes into the game. Bama came back and regained the lead on yet another Chris Youngblood 3 to make it 23-21.
Alabama increased their lead to 8 on this 3 from Mark Sears, but State took the lead back on this dunk from Sean Jones to make it 39-38 with 1:17 to go in the half. But the Tide finished the half strong, using a 6-0 run to take the lead at the half, 44-39.
Mark Sears and Aiden Holloway were on a roll after the break, scoring 15 of Alabama's first 19 points in the second half. The Tide was incredible from beyond the arc, hitting 66% in the second half, including 3 from Chris Youngblood. With the game tied at 80 with just under 4 minutes remaining, Alabama took the lead on this Grant Nelson three-pointer, giving the Tide an 83-80 lead, and they would never let go of that lead. The Bulldogs had a chance to take the lead in the final seconds of the game, but Keyshawn Murphy missed the layup, and Alabama hung on for the tough win on the road in Starkville, 88-84.
I thought Sears had a really good bounce back game. I mean, he played hard. We chart those blue collar points. Diabate ended up winning it with the 7-0 boards, but Sears was like right there, a point behind him. So, man, I thought he made a bunch of tough plays. He ended up with 6 rebounds, 3 0 boards. We got him on the boards. He's 17, 9, and 6. I thought he was really good overall game.
Alabama had 4 scores in double figures. Along with those 17 from Mark Sears, Chris Youngblood had a team high and season high 23 points as he connected on 7 of 10 from the 3-point range. Those 7 3-pointers are a new career high for him.
Sears had a game-high 9 assists and 6 rebounds to go with those 17 points. Grant Nelson added 15 points and 7 rebounds, while Aiden Holloway chipped in 12. That win improves Alabama's record to 18-3 overall and 7-1 in the SEC.
And one of the key contributors for the Crimson Tide has been grad student Chris Youngblood. Youngblood missed the first 9 games of the season due to an injury, but has started to come on strong late, including the season high of 23 points against Mississippi State.
In his last 5 games, Youngblood is averaging over 12 points per game. Let's get to know a little more about Chris Youngblood in this week's Player Spotlight.
Chris Youngblood, combo guard, Tuscaloosa, Alabama. One thing I knew I was going to be able to bring to anywhere I go, just my competitive spirit. I know it's pretty contagious. And if I like smell blood, if I smell any type of weakness or sense it, it can get pretty bad. So that retreat, that was the whole point of that retreat, just to see who really built like that. And eventually by the season and by the first week of April when the Final Four is, everybody should be on that level of competitiveness. So continuous growth is just coming in every day, just getting 1% better. Might be some hard days, but it's just, as long as you get 1% better every day. Match effort is pretty self-explanatory. Every time you're on the court in between the lines, you're emptying your tank and giving it all. And selfless love, it's just being selfless. Unselfish basketball, moving the ball, sharing the ball, caring about the we versus the me, and just caring about your teammates more than your own success. My tendons, like my right peroneal tendon, it's the tendon that keeps your ankle from rolling. I had tendonitis and arthritis in it throughout the whole summer. And eventually it just, I wouldn't say snap, but I felt a little pop, and it was like, yeah, we gotta get this fixed. I'm a very impatient person, I just don't know how to slow down. It's hard working, so this really taught me how to just chill, relax. Alabama fans, we've been putting in a lot of work this season. We're really excited to put on the show for y'all. We're gonna give y'all something to look forward to. Roll Tide.
TideTV This Week is presented by Ford. Visit your local Ford dealer. Proud sponsor of the Crimson Tide, the University of Alabama, where legends are made.
In every moment, greatness awaits. For the bold, the visionary, and those ready to take their shot. Here, we don't chase success, we define it. The University of Alabama, where legends are made.
Hey guys, I'm Paige Riley alongside Mary Reagan Bullock for TideTV this week. And after a 32-point win on the road over the Arkansas Razorbacks, the Alabama women's basketball team was back home this past Sunday as the 19th-ranked Crimson Tide hosted the Vanderbilt Commodores.
Going into the matchup, Chrissy Curry's squad was 17-3 overall with a 4-2 mark in SEC play.
And the Crimson Tide, they got a huge boost for that game. After missing the past 5 games due to an injury, Sarah Ashley Barker returned with a vengeance. Barker got the Crimson Tide going with 6 of their first 8 points, but the Commodores kept up. Vandy held a 15-13 lead with 2.5 minutes to go in the opening 10 minutes of play. But the Tide closed out the period with a 6-0 run to take a 19-15 lead.
Barker continued her comeback with a vengeance in the second period as she scored 11 of Alabama's 17 points to lead the Crimson Tide to a 34-22 lead at the half. But the third period would be the difference in the game.
In essence, Cody 3 put Alabama up by 7. Then the Tide grabbed their biggest lead of the game at 9 points on this layup from Zay Green. But the Crimson Tide would only score 2 more points in that third period as the Commodores outscored the Tide 17-7 as Vanderbilt took the 3-point lead into the final 10 minutes of play.
The Commodores led by as many as 6 in the fourth period. Sarah Ashley scored 15 of her 36 points in the final 10 minutes. Barker tied the game at 60 with 2 minutes to play. Then down 5 in the final minute of play, Barker drained the shot from beyond the arc to make it a one-possession game, 65-63.
Down three with 4 seconds remaining, Barker then fouled on the inbounds play. Barker drained the first free throw. Now down 2, she has to miss it and hope for the rebound, but the ball goes out of bounds, and that allowed the Commodores to hang on to the upset. The 19th-ranked Crimson Tide 66-64.
One thing I'll walk away is maybe I should have gone to my bench because I didn't think that, for whatever reason, and it's disappointing, we just allowed them to be a lot more aggressive than we were. I think there's a 17-point differential, between their benefit from the offensive glass and their score off turnovers compared to ours. And anytime that you give up that big of a differential and you aren't able to balance that with your hustle plays, it's gonna be a long day.
In her first game back since getting injured back on January 2nd against Florida, Sarah Ashley Barker scored a career-high 36 points. Barker connected on 15 of 21 from the floor, including 3 of 5 on three-pointers. She just missed having a double-double as she also finished with 9 rebounds with 4 steals.
The loss is just the 4th on the season for Christy Curry's Crimson Tide, as Bama sits at 17-4 and 4-3 in SEC play.
And the 10th-ranked Alabama Gymnastics team is back in Coleman Coliseum as the Tide welcomed #1 Oklahoma. It was the SEC home opener for the Crimson Tide on Friday night.
A crowd of almost 10,000 fans packed Coleman Coliseum to see 2 of the best programs in the nation compete. Alabama was led on vault by Gabby Gladio and Lily Hudson, both tied for the team high with a 9.875. And for the 3rd straight meet, a freshman led the Tide on uneven bars as Peyton Walker scored a 9.875.
From a freshman to a 5th-year senior, Shania Adams led Bama on beam as she also posted a 9.875 from the number 5 spot in the lineup. The Crimson Tide closed out the night on floor. Gabby Gladio tied her season high on the event with a 9.95 to win the event title for the 3rd straight time this season.
Despite posting the 2nd highest team score of the season, it wouldn't be enough as a 10th-ranked Crimson Tide fell to #1 ranked Sooners, 197.550 to 196.3.
I've said from the beginning, this team has to get better every single week, whether that's a mental approach, whether that's actual physical results. And we're definitely learning every week. This young team is continuing to learn more tools to help them thrive in tough, hard moments, and we'll continue to face those week after week. Going to Georgia next week, we'll have LSU after that, so they're going to be tested against the best teams in the country, and any one of these teams could win a national championship. So we've got to learn our lessons and then put them into practice and just continue to get better.
Stay with us. We'll check in with the Crimson Tide tennis and track and field teams coming up next right here on TideTV this week.
Roll Tide, roll! The Alabama Crimson Tide. Cunningham again. Shot good and she's fouled. There she goes and there's Barker. Timmons there. Setting her team up.
Possibly the dagger for Alabama. Right to the rim. Got it.
Kicks. Nye, right corner 3. Steals the inbounds. Left side to Timmons. Layup good. It's a 2-point game.
Welcome back to Tide TV this week. I'm Paige Riley, joined by Mary Reagan Bullock, and we're in the spring semester now, so that means there's going to be a lot more competition.
Yes, we do, Paige, and we have 9 sports that are in play right now and another 5 about to start in the next couple weeks. One of those teams in action right now is the Crimson Tide's men's tennis team.
George Husak's squad was in action this past weekend in Charlottesville, Virginia for the ITA kickoff weekend. In their first match, the 19th-ranked Alabama took on Virginia Commonwealth. The Crimson Tide won the doubles point and then took 3 straight singles matches to get the 4-0 sweep over the Rams. That win sent the Tide to the ITA kickoff weekend finals.
In that finals matchup, Alabama took on 5th-ranked Virginia. Philip Planishek highlighted the match with a singles victory over Virginia's Dylan Dietrich, who's ranked at 57th nationally on court 1. But that would be the only point of the day for the Tide as the Cavaliers advanced to the ITA National Indoor Championship with a 4-1 victory.
And a huge congratulations to a couple of members of the Crimson Tide men's tennis team. Filip Planishek and Matic Kriznik will compete for Slovenia in the Davis Cup this weekend. The tournament will kick off with singles competition beginning this Saturday.
The Crimson Tide men's tennis team is ranked 20th in this week's top 25.
The Alabama women's tennis team also competed in the ITA kickoff weekend tournament. The Tide's women's tennis team played a couple of matches in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. First up for the Tide was number 9 North Carolina. The Tar Heels jumped out to a 1-0 lead, winning the doubles point. During singles play, Sarah Nayar picked up Bama's lone point of the match as the 9th-ranked Tar Heels won 4-1.
In the Tide's other match in Chapel Hill, Alabama was victorious over Arizona State. It was the first victory of the spring as the Tide earned all 4 of their points in singles play as they defeated the Sun Devils 4-3.
The Alabama track and field team took home a plethora of wins and top 3 finishes this past weekend at the Orange and Purple Invitational hosted by Clemson University. The highlight of that invitational was Donald Chiangwin's performance in the 300-meter race. He broke the Zimbabwean national record with a time of 32:38, and this was just 0.2 of a second short of the African record.
Congratulations on that accomplishment and the rest of the winners there at the Orange and Purple Invitational. The men's track and field team is ranked number 1 in the South region by a large margin over number 2 Tennessee.
And the women are ranked 6th in the nation and 2nd in the South region. The Tide will be back in action this weekend at the New Mexico Team Open in Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Stay with us. We'll have our plays and players of the week coming up right here on Tide TV this week.
To the wall, and it's gone!
We're going to be filled with Rubita like you wouldn't believe.
But this is a team that has been there, done that in terms of its history.
We're going to do whatever we need to do to get back to Oklahoma City.
And the Crimson Tide will ride this season's wave all the way to the World Series.
Maury on the left wing. He'll dribble to the high side, gives it off to Young. The flush, and that was beautiful. It's way out, though. Saved by Sears. Finds Amori. Bama gets a reset to 20. Don't need it. Young play free. Fake kicking into the corner, Nelson. He'll drive to the rim, and he'll throw it home. Remaining. Driving downhill, Carter. Leaner blocked by Youngblood. Holloway, top of the arc. Right side, gets a return pass. Lets it fly.
Huge tuck ball in. Nails it.
Down the left side lane, Barker throws it up off the window, banks it off the square. Welcome back, Sarah Ashley Barker.
Weathers left side lane to Barker on the right wing. Catch and release 3-pointer. She's got it! And Barker with a career-high 35 points against Vanderbilt.
Bounce pass to Nelson, and the freight train went right down the heart of Main Street. Right, weaving through traffic, kicks in the corner. Holloway, 3, bottom, and he is fouled. LeBaron finding Youngblood on the wing. Catch and shoot. Bottom. Chris Youngblood knocks home another one. His 7th on 9 tries tonight. Nelson for 3. Bottom. Oh, mercy. Grant Nelson. A huge 3 on the assist from Martin Christopher Sears.
Those were our ATI plays of the week. Now let's take a look at our players of the week, brought to you by Legacy of Hope.
And Paige, we got a career performance from a player that had been out for the last couple weeks due to an injury.
Yeah, Sarah Ashley Barker scored a career-high 36 points to go along with 9 rebounds and 4 steals. Barker connected on 15 of 21 from the floor, including 3 of 5 from beyond the arc in the Tide's matchup against Vanderbilt.
And Chris Youngblood had a season and career best in the win over Mississippi State. Youngblood scored a season-high 23 points and knocked down a career-high 7 of 10 three-point attempts.
And Donald Chiangwin finished first in the men's 300-meter at the Orange and Purple Invitational in Clemson, South Carolina. He had a time of 32:38 and is the new Zimbabwean national record.
Wow, a new Zimbabwean national record for the Crimson Tide, and it was great to see Sarah Ashley back out on the court, and what a way to return a career high of 36 points.
Look, she came ready to play, and that's why she's at the top of the rankings in almost every category in the SEC, including being in the top 10 in scoring.
Yes, and we hope to see you back here next week as we talk about more great performances like that one and much more here on Tide TV this week.
Same time, same channel, everyone, and see you next week.
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
This has been a presentation from Learfield,